RPG Rider here for the zillionth time. I'll tell you what I mean by that. I just spent hours, 2 hours recording some audio, and it didn't come out. Not one bit. No, it did, but it was very staticky. So I'm really hoping I have that issue resolved right now. Whoa, tar. That's good. If I don't, I apologize. I'll try to sort it out at some point. So anyway, I guess I'm almost too tired. All the gabbing I did, and I'd have to do it all over again. I don't know if I can. Anyway, essentially what I was talking about was a lot. Was systems that have levels. So in other words, you start at first level, you get enough experience, you go up another level, then you go up another level, then you go up another level. And I was just remarking on the fact that leveled systems have a lot of inherent problems with them. One of which is if you're using an established setting and you're using purchase modules that have locales in that setting, it becomes problematic because if you're a first level party and above you is Village of Hamlet, but a location just north of that is, these aren't the actual positions, but I'm just using an example here. Barrier Peaks, Expedition to the Barrier Peaks, and another location is Descent into the Depths of the Earth. Your party can't move around freely if those locales actually exist, because they're going to get smitten, right? They will be smitten if they go to those locations. You want them to go to the Village of Hamlet, but they end up going to a different location, right? They end up going to a 7th level campaign area when they're first level. So that's an issue. Now, if you write your own campaigns, that's not an issue. Because you can change what's where, but that's still problematic, because really what you're doing is you have to tailor each encounter area to the strength of the party's level. So if they're first level, and you do, people say they don't have to, but you do, because if you're first level and they open up the door of the dungeon, the first door, when they open up the door, there's Lolth, Demon Queen of Spiders. It's going to be a short campaign, right? And people can make arguments and, but really, if you have levels, you have to tailor your encounters to those levels, the party levels, right? So that's problematic. And I had a bunch of really insightful insights that were awesome, but I lost all that footage because my audio was crackling, and it's probably not working that well now because of the position of my mic. So hopefully some of this is going to come out. I'm getting really frustrated with it. Anyway, and I'm forgetting all my points, but essentially if you have levels, it can be problematic, right? In terms of, you need so much experience, go to the next one. And unrealistic, because no matter where you go on the map, if you're second level, you're going to be encountering second level-y-ish encounters. The GM's going to make sure there's second level-y encounters. And then once you go up in experience a little bit, suddenly, magically, and inexplicably, you're getting more challenging encounters because you're a new level. And then, although goblins inhabited a certain forest for millennia, now that you're 7th level and you enter that forest, the goblins aren't there anymore. You're encountering other stuff. Now, obviously I'm exaggerating a little bit. You can change things to reflect, to make it more realistic and stuff like that. But essentially, I think the core of what I'm saying is true. levels are problematic in games, right? So I started, that's incidentally why I like Cortex so much, because Cortex is is level-less. All right, I'll talk about Cortex. Now, I'm not referring to Cortex Plus, as I haven't played Cortex Plus. I can't comment on it. I'm referring to Cortex Classic, the Blue Book by Margaret Weiss Productions, which is a glorious system. It's beautiful and incredibly underrated, because no one played it. It's so awesome. So essentially in Cortex you don't have levels, so what happens is you get advancement points, and then you use those advancement points to increase your attributes and or skills, get some assets, and perhaps even take away some complications, right? That's what you do in Cortex. The other thing I like about it is that it's classless, and boy, I love being classless, even in a fictional setting. I love being classless. So essentially, in other systems that have classes, it's difficult to get the character you want. Like, for example, if you want to be Conan the Barbarian, you've got Barbarian, you've got Fighter, and you've got Rogue, a Thief, right? But in Cortex, you don't have that issue. There is no issue with that because there are no levels, no classes. So if you find at some point you'd like to have a few levels in, or some ability in opening secret doors or picking locks, your character can conceivably learn to pick locks, right? You could just learn to pick locks. And if you want to pick up a couple of spells here and there, depending on how you run the game, you could perhaps pick up a few spells here and there. No problem, right? So you can really tailor it to what you want. Now, spellcasting, you could change it so that only spellcasters get spellcasting, which is probably what I would do. But essentially, you're not pigeonholed into a class for the rest of your life. You pick up skills that you want, and you change the character based upon what you want. Now, I'm going to look at the bike again because I'm frustrated and tired after all this vlogging and stress of life. I'm going through a lot of stress right now. My life is very stressful, guys, right now, and I just need to get through it, through my life. So anyway, yeah, with Cortex. Now, if you were to go the Cortex route, which is what I'm starting to do, I need to clean it again. If you were going to go the Cortex route, I'll just show you this too. I don't want to show you my license plate because it's going on the internet. Not that I don't trust you guys. This has an Undertale exhaust, so I don't know if you can see it, but it's Undertale, yeah, under the tail of the bike, right? Not on the side. It's a clean look, and it makes it look like a crotch rocket, right? Which is what it is. And anyway, so if you did want to go the Cortex route, Classic, and give it a whirl for fantasy, because it doesn't have classes and it doesn't have levels. And now, granted, you're going to have to write your own material, campaign material. The only thing is, I'll let you know if you do buy it, it's like $4 or $5 on RPG now. Or if you want to listen in to one of my Skype games where I do it first. I'll let you know there aren't many spells in the Cortex Blue Book, which is a generic rule system. But you can get around that because the first incarnation of Cortex was, might as well just talk a bit, was Sovereign Stone. And, it's basically the same thing. So if you have the Sovereign Stone RPG, you've got a whole bunch of spells. Now there's a problem with that though. And the problem is that it's not on PDF. You have to track down an actual physical copy of the book. And I talked to the game designer. If I haven't mentioned, I know a lot of people in the RPG industry, and I talk to them. I just do, and through email and Facebook, and I just do. I don't know how it happened. I just happen to know a lot of them. And anyway, I spoke to them, to this guy, and as far as he's aware, there was no PDF done of it. So the other option, and this is the option I'm taking, and the good guy, one of my good friends, Josh, he posts on these vlogs. You might see him. He mentioned the Codex Mystarum. Now, what's on the go with that is that Sovereign Stone made a transition into D20. And when it did, all the future supplements for Sovereign Stone were D20ified. So Codex Mystarum which is available on PDF, I think, is a D20 resource. But what they did is they listed all the spells that were meant for the Sovereign Stone campaign, and they left the thresholds, these numbers that are Cortex rules, in there. So you've got all the things you need to run all of those spells for Cortex. The only issue would be damage conversion, which is very simple. So a couple of my friends, SSFX17 and Kaelin, said you could use for every 4 points of damage would be a die step. 4 points in D20 would be a die step in Cortex, or every 6 points, whichever way you wanted to go. So in other words, if a spell does up to 36 points of damage in D20, 36 if you went the 6 points per die step would be 6 die steps. D2, D4, D6, D8, D10, D12. So that would be a D12 damage in Cortex. So it would be a simple conversion process. Now, I don't want to spend this whole vlog plugging Cortex, but I'm just saying moving to a classless, levelless system, I think gets rid of a lot of the problems that you have with levels, which are very unrealistic, right? You know, you go up a level, you go up a level, go up a level, and you're tailoring all these encounters to these levels, and your setting is ruined, and no, you can't move north. Well, why can't we? Well, because Expedition to the Barrier Peaks is there, and you're only first level, you know. You can get around it and stuff and say, oh, it's very dangerous up north. But really, levels have their own problems, right? Anyway, so that was one thing I was talking about with regard to levels in systems. And I had some other awesome points, and I spent hours talking about them. And all that footage is garbage. And it's really frustrating. The audio was all messed up, and wiring, and I'm trying to sort through it, and it's expensive. And, you know, I can't be messing around and trying to spend loads of money on a new audio system, because it's so expensive, right? You know, it's kind of, this better do me for years and years and years, right? Otherwise I won't be able to do this at all.